Did you just buy a new set of wheels and now your car looks like this? Let me help you out. I'm Jake here with threepiece.us, and today we're going to be talking about the different kinds of wheel fitment that you can do to your car. I broke these down into 3 basic categories for you guys. We've got OEM and tucked, we've got flush fitment, and we've got poke fitment. Let's get right into it. First thing we're going to be talking about here today is OEM fitment. Not going to spend a lot of time here. This is what your car came with from the factory. This is what the factory thought, hey, this is good enough, let's send it out. Usually your wheel's going to be inset a couple inches towards the inside of the vehicle. You can have a lot of gap both vertically to the fender and horizontally to the fender. Tucked, meaning you bought the wrong offset. Don't worry about it, we can help. Just use our fitment search and vehicle gallery next time. Your wheels are a couple inches inset into the fender, meaning you've got a big horizontal gap to the wheels fitting flush to the fender. This type of fitment generally is a mistake, not a desirable look. This isn't going to impact performance, but your boys might roast you for it. Now, tucked stance, on the other hand, is an intentional form of this fitment where the outer lip of the wheel sits millimeters from the fender, sliding right over it. This is a look that's achieved by significantly lowering the car, running wheels that would generally otherwise stick out of the fender, and then adjusting suspension geometry to bring the wheel inside the fender so the inside of the fender lip slides just over the lip of the wheel. This, of course, makes performance worse, but it looks pretty cool, so we can forgive that. Next up, flush fitment. This is perfect. This is what you want, in my opinion. And this is what we're going to help you dial in if you use the fitment search on our website or contact one of our fitment experts. This means having your fender, tire, and wheel all line up vertically in a straight line parallel to the fender. The less wheel gap here, the better, but obviously this is a functional fitment, so if you need to run a little bit of wheel gap so your car can squat under load or corner effectively, that's perfectly acceptable. This requires a stiffer suspension setup, like some lowering springs or some coilovers, to keep your wheel and tire assembly from smashing into your fender. No one likes a bacon fender. Generally, this is going to improve the performance of your vehicle by both increasing track width, meaning pushing the wheels out from the hub assembly, as well as allowing more mechanical grip with a wider wheel and tire. This in turn means you're going to cut down lap times or improve your quarter mile by having more traction. So, how do you do this? Well, first thing you do is you head on over to threepiece.us, you put your vehicle, the year, make, and model into our fitment search, and you see some wheel options that pop up. Then you're going to select one using our vehicle gallery that shows that it fits flush to the body. At that point in time, you're going to pick a tire size that's a full-size squared off tire, meaning something like a 9.5-inch wide wheel should have roughly a 255 series tire on it. You can take the width of the tire, divide it by 25, and get roughly the wheel width that you should run, meaning a 255 tire should go on roughly a 10-inch wide wheel. 9.5, you're good to go. Now you've got that dialed in with your wheel width and your tire width, you got to make sure you select an offset that fits flush to your fender, and you're good to go with your flush fitment. Next up, and one of the more contentious ones that's come about in the last 10 years or so, we're going to talk about stance. Stance is a type of fitment that involves lowering your car to the lowest point possible, ideally trying to have your vehicle touch the ground. Your wheel fitment goal here is what's called fender to lip, meaning that the fender of your vehicle sits on top of the wheel lip. You want to position your fender as close to that lip as possible while ensuring the car can remain drivable. That's why air suspensions become so popular among stance enthusiasts, is it allows you to achieve that perfect fender sitting on lip fitment and then raise the car up to drive it. For those static guys that are doing fender to lip, good luck, have fun, and we applaud you for it. To stance your car, you need air suspension or coilovers, or head on over to Home Depot, buy 50 washers and stack them on your stock strut. I'm sure that'll work well. You unfortunately can't do this with lowering springs. It's not going to allow you to lower the car enough to get the ride height where you need it to be to dial in that kind of fitment. Before y'all crucify me in the comments for this one, show me a stance car with good fitment on lowering springs. I will wait. Also, you're gonna need to stretch your tires. To go for a proper stance look, you can't run a square full-size tire setup. That's just a flush fitment that you're calling stance while not actually having a stance car. Something like a 225 tire on a 10-inch wheel is going to give you that level of exposed lip that you need to sit the fender on top of the lip, or if you're on air, even in the lip. You'll also need camber arms or other forms of suspension adjustability. Camber plates are usually going to come with your coilovers, but to keep your suspension geometry in check when lowering the car significantly below the factory ride height, you're going to want tow arms, camber arms, roll center adjusters, traction arms, and all kinds of other arms and components to keep your suspension geometry within a reasonable spec. Stance destroys the performance of your car, but it looks pretty cool. If this is the look you're going for, performance is obviously not the first of your concerns. What does it do to make performance worse? You're running a reduced contact patch due to the negative camber on your tires. meaning that you have less mechanical grip. Additionally, your vehicle's lowered so significantly that the shock doesn't have enough travel to not bottom out, creating what's called bump steer. This is part of the reason that you don't really see stance cars on a road course. However, for a street car that you daily drive, these are perfectly acceptable sacrifices to achieve the look that you want. Stance is the epitome of form over function. You guys seem to love it. We've helped you out with thousands of fitments for it over the years. We've got you covered on stance. Next one, and this is a subgenre, more specific type of fitment, but we got to talk about it in the context of stance. You're looking at camber. This can either be tucked or a flush fitment. Camber is that look where it looks like someone stepped on a Hot Wheel and it's all splayed out like this. Camber is achieved by running a significant amount of negative camber both front and rear on your vehicle. Usually the commonly accepted rule here is negative 10 degrees or greater, or double-digit camber as many people call it. If you're running this type of fitment, you need to match your camber front and rear, meaning that you need not only front camber plates, but some other form of adjustment. Rear camber is often a lot easier to get, with rear camber arms being plentiful for many vehicles. In the front, your options are to relocate your camber plate further in on the strut tower, ensuring you have reasonable clearance to the shock tower and your coilover, not recommended. Slotting your camber plates for additional negative camber, extending your front lower control arms, running roll center adjusters, or all other manner of interesting modifications that you guys do to achieve this. Camber is not a look for everyone, but guys, you got to give credit where credit's due. You're modifying a vehicle significantly beyond the factory expectations. This obviously does take a lot of time and effort to achieve. I'm not a stance guy, and I certainly will be the first one to clown on this, but I can also respect it for what it is. You guys are putting in the time, effort, and energy, and you got to appreciate that. Obviously, in that context, this is going to destroy the performance of your car. This is also going to accelerate wear on things like wheel bearings, ball joints, bushings, the frame of your car, the chassis of your car, sanity from scraping driveways. But realistically, again, it's a look, it's personal preference, and you probably know what you're getting into running this. We consider this more of an advanced style, so if you're interested in doing something like this, our team can definitely assist you with it. Just give us a call. Last one, we're going to be talking about poke, also known as the oops, I fucked up fitment. Should have used our fitment search in our vehicle gallery, but you didn't. Don't worry, give us a call, we'll take care of you next time. This means your wheels and your tires protrude past your fender. That's a key point here. If just your wheels protrude, that's a different style we're going to talk about later in the video. If your wheel and tire is sticking more than maybe an inch out past your fender, hate to tell you, you didn't do it by choice, you fucked up on your sizing. I'm not going to tell you how to do this, because it's not a desirable sizing. It's not a desirable fitment, but generally it involves running a wheel that's too wide with an offset that's too low for your vehicle. What to do if you have this fitment? Well, if you have a three-piece wheel, you can always downsize the outer lip to try to bring it in towards the body of the car. Realistically, head on over to OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, get lowballed to death for the next 60 to 90 business days, sell those wheels and buy a new set from us. It's really the only way to fix your poke fitment. Okay, next one. We're going to talk about poke fitment on a truck. This can actually be desirable, unlike a car, and is a style that many truck enthusiasts, both in the show world and the off-road world, actually target for their truck. You achieve this by buying some wide boys for your truck, both in the wheel department and the tire department. This is generally a desirable look, whether it's big wheels with small tires or small wheels with big tires. This is going to make your truck look mean as fuck with some big beefy boys sticking out past those fenders. Generally, the one caveat to this is the wider you're going to go, the more lift you're going to want. You want to keep things looking proportional. You don't want 8 inches of poke on a leveling kit. Your truck's going to look goofy as fuck. A general rule that we came up with to help people that are new to the truck scene, and truck guys, I'm not a truck guy. I like going fast. Don't drag me in the comments for this. This is just to help out the newbies here. For every additional inch of poke, generally, you want to match the height of your lift to the second number in your wheel diameter. So for example, if you buy a 24-inch wheel, you want a 4-inch lift at minimum. This isn't applicable to every platform, every truck, every situation, but generally this is going to be a good rule to help you keep the height and width of your truck looking proportional. Off-road guys, there's no hard and fast rule to it. Lift it as much as you need for ground clearance. Good luck, go enjoy the trails. Last one here, guys. This is a very niche fitment, again, kind of like camber, but we have to talk about it in the context of poke. This is called outlip style. It's pioneered by Japanese drifters and has made its way to the US in a small capacity. Outlip style is where you keep the tire inside the fender, but the lip of the wheel pokes out past the fender, hence outlip. This is achieved by running a significantly stretched tire with a full suspension setup, all the arms you need, coilovers, air suspension, all that good stuff. This is again considered a very advanced fitment and is something that you're going to have to dial in realistically, specifically to your vehicle. You're going to need to stretch your tires, and it's going to need to be a pretty big stretch in order to have the lip protrude to the point where you can actually have it stick out past the vehicle. This also applies to some kind of sub-genres like Sudani style, where you've got a significant amount of lip poking out past the chassis or the body of the vehicle. This is all personal preference. It's going to destroy the performance of your car. If it's something you're looking to do, there are very few resources out there on the internet that will tell you exactly how to do it. We can definitely assist with it, or I would recommend speaking to some people that have done it to their vehicle. It's very complicated to do properly at the end of the day and generally not recommended. The big difference between outlip style and many of the other styles of stance is it does, to an extent, consider the performance of the vehicle since it was initially used in drifting. So you do have to consider what the suspension geometry of your vehicle is going to look like under load in relation to your new wheel fitment. So if you're, weight transferring the vehicle, you can't have your tire slamming into your fender at 80 miles an hour, it's gonna come off bead. So it is a little bit more advanced in that context, has a lot more to do with the spring rate that you're running, and again, is a very advanced style of fitment. So, let's sum it all up. Today we talked about the different types of fitment. I explained to you what an OEM or a tucked fitment is, where the wheel sits inside the body. We talked about what a flush fitment is, where the wheel sits parallel to the body. We talked about a poke fitment, where the wheel sticks out past the body. We went over each type of fitment, how to achieve it, and whether it helps or hurts the performance of your vehicle. So which type of fitment is your favorite, and what are you running on your car? Show us your fitment by uploading your vehicle to our gallery to help others dial in their fitment and participate in our fitment battles to win huge prizes. As always, if you're looking for a fresh new set of wheels, head on over to our website, threepiece.us, or give our team a call. We're glad to help you out.